Hey guys, so today we're doing a follow-up from our video the other day in relation to expanding on how we can utilize our Raspberry Pi to run a local instance of N8N. So in this video, we're going to be going through how to connect it to a Cloudflare tunnel and also set up a custom domain, allowing you not only to access your instance from anywhere, regardless of if you're on your local internet connection or not, but also to enable webhook functionality. Because currently at the moment, I'm logged into my local instance here, and we can see there's a pretty nasty looking webhook URL there that won't work with anything outside of our local internet connection. So if you haven't already followed my instructions from my previous video, which I'll tag above, and make sure that you're set up and ready to go with your local instance of N8N. So first thing that we're going to do after we have done that is we're just going to run on our terminal Docker compose down. So just because we're going to be making changes to our config file, or our Docker compose file I should say, it's always best practice just to shut that down. So now that that's done, we're going to navigate over to Cloudflare. So if you haven't created an account already, make sure you do that. If you have, you're good to keep going. So then you're going to either need to onboard a new domain or buy a new one. I'm not going to run through how to do that because it's fairly self-explanatory, but you do need to have a custom domain like this one here in order to continue. So once you've done that, we're going to navigate over to Zero Trust, and we're going to go to Networks, Tunnels, and then we're going to create a tunnel. So we're going to select the Cloudflare option here, and we're going to give it a name. So I'm just going to call mine N8N Trial 1. And then on this next step here, we need to set up, install, and run our connectors. So we're going to go over to this option here because we're running on a Raspberry Pi. Make sure you use whichever one you set it up. If you followed my video exactly last time, you can just leave it as is on the 64-bit. So first thing you want to do is copy this command here, come back to your Raspberry Pi, and we're just going to open up a fresh terminal, and we're just going to run this one here. So it's going to run through, do its thing. It shouldn't take very long, maybe a minute or so. We'll just close this other one while we're waiting, and we can close this one up too. And then just while that's working, we're going to come back here, and we're going to come to this one, and we're going to copy this one as well. So we'll wait for this one to finish. It shouldn't take too long. It's already done. And what we'll do is we'll just paste this in here. Just as an FYI, you may want to copy your Cloudflare token, this one here, but you shouldn't need it for anything else. So you should be fine just to leave as is. So once that's done, you just want to come back and just make sure you go save or next down the bottom right there. And then you want to come over to published application routes, and then you want to add a new publication route. So for the subdomain, you can just set it as N8N. For the domain, we want to just add our custom domain that we purchased before. For the HTTP, we just want to do that, or the service type I should say, and then for the URL, we can just do our Raspberry Pi IP address. So mine's already here, so 192.168.0.135:5678, so that's just the port. So we'll hit save, and what we should see is this now, and then if we come back to our tunnels, we should see healthy. So that should now be good to go. So now we want to come back to our Raspberry Pi, and we just want to start up our container again. Cool, so now that's starting up. We should be able to, within 30 seconds or so, access just using the same address as before. So we'll just double check firstly that it's working. Cool, so that's now worked and we're logged in. So we can just confirm that it's working on our local address at the moment. So the next thing that we'll do is we'll come back to Cloudflare. We'll whack this one here for configuration, come back here, and we just want to copy. Sorry, that's how we get to it there. So we can just copy this link address, and we will actually just run it on our Raspberry Pi first. And what we can see now is that we are actually able to access our instance of n8n using this command here, or using this URL here. So rather than having to go through our local one, we can use this one here. So you'll just need to use the username and details that you set up before. So I just use this. And now we're in good to go. So we can see we've still got that same workflow there, which is great. If we do come to the workflow and look at the HTTP request, or the webhook request, I should say, what we will see though is currently we are still using this here. So this isn't accessible again, so we need to change our Docker Compose to allow that. And the way that we do that is that we open up our Docker Compose file, and we're just going to make two small changes. So we're going to add 2 lines in here. So I've done this on my end already, and again, like last time, I'll have all the resources available, but essentially you're just going to add in webhook underscore URL equals, and then the link to your custom domain, and then we're going to go n8n protocol HTTPS. So we're going to save that one, and then as always, whenever we make any changes to our Docker Compose file, we need to do Docker Compose down, and then we're going to Docker Compose up -d, and we're just going to give it like 30 seconds or so just to be able to start up again, because it does sometimes take a little bit of time. What we can see here is connection loss because we shut down our instance of n8n, but what we then should be able to do is, hopefully now we've given it enough time, we can come back and we can try this again. So I'm just going to grab the address from here again, and we'll see if this now works. So from what we can see up the top there, it looks like it's loading, which is good. Sometimes just when you start it up, you need to refresh it a couple of times, but it looks like it's loading. So we can see that's now loading in there, which is great. And then if we open up our workflow, and we then open up the webhook node that we had in there already, we should now be able to see that our webhook has changed. So we can now integrate this with external apps, and we can come to our browser and do this. What you will see is this dangerous site. Unfortunately, that's just how it works by default. I may release a video in future on the next steps, but that just involves setting up a certificate. It's not required. You can still use all the functionality without any issues. But if you just think it's ugly and don't want to look at that, then yeah, I'll look at creating another video in the future. So again, you will just need to log in with your details again. But what we can see is we can now access this, and we've got our updated webhook address there, all working properly exactly how we wanted to. So that's it for this one today, guys, but thanks for sticking through. If you found it helpful, please leave a like, comment, or subscribe. If you need anything in terms of automated solutions for your business, please feel free to reach out. I've got the email address and the website for my business in there. And as always, I will have all the documentation available. I'm going to actually set it up in a GitHub repo instead this time, just to make it easier to access, and everything should be pretty much ready to go for you guys. So you should just be able to copy and paste most of this. So thanks again. Appreciate your time.